What's up, my fucking misogynists? I'm Rim. So, I want to talk about She-Hulk. As you know, the first episode just came out, and like the sensitive, hate-fueled fan that I am, I watched it for the sole purpose of complaining about it, and validating everyone else who wants to complain about it, even if they didn't watch it. Now, as someone who loves story structure in general, my ego usually stops me from judging any piece of media, be it book, movie, or show, until I've actually finished it in its entirety. However, I might have to rethink that ideology because I've now learned that in some cases, prejudice is warranted. So welcome to Rim's First Impressions, Video 1. Like and subscribe and hit the bell for more. So, at first glance, this show seems like your everyday Marvel Disney schlock. It pretends to have this deep message about how people with power should be held accountable for how they use that power or something, but you quickly find out that the theme that it's pretending to flaunt is a front for Disney's true messaging of hating men. And before anyone accuses me of being a generic Andrew Tate fan for saying that, let me ask you, are you fucking blind? That man is a messiah! Also, there is literally a part in the show where the She-Hulk woman named Jen is standing outside at night, and some guys come out of a building with the audacity to try and talk to her. And we are led to believe that these men are evil because she tries to kill them after hulking out. Now, usually suspension of disbelief would dictate that it's okay for something like this to happen in universe, since we are being told that the men are evil and a giant green monster crushing villains is normal in the MCU. Except these men did nothing wrong. I'll break it down. The guys walk out and She-Bitch Phase 1 is immediately afraid for no reason. The black guy, quote for quote, says in a literal friendly tone, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" with a nice smile. And she's really timid and standoffish, and honestly, sure, I can get being dismissive of people you don't want to talk to, but she is acting like they're staring at her creepily from the bushes or something. The tone of this scene is a bit strange. I would call it inconsistent, actually. Someone tell me in the comments if you agree or disagree. So, what I mean is, the black guy literally is just being friendly. I'm not sure if the actor wasn't given clear directions or what, because his words, smile, and posture are just cordial. And before anyone says that he's creepy because he approached a random woman at night, this is a bar or a club or something. And every man who's been to either one knows that if you want to attempt to interact with a woman that you find attractive to try and fuck or just get her number or whatever, you, 95% of the time, have to approach first. If we didn't, the human race would literally be endangered. And honestly, if you're awkward like I am, you will approach the same way this dude did. And the most successful guys are usually way more direct than this. So this guy is acting normal. Then we do get a quick shot of some creepy looking guy, but all he says is, "What's your name?" And honestly, even though he looks like a creep, that is a normal beginning to a conversation. You usually want the name of the person you are attempting to interact with. So this guy is acting normal, but she's not acting normal. She's acting terrified at the mere idea that men dared to talk to her. So she walks off saying her boyfriend is coming. Then suddenly, the guys turn from polite to offended and slightly more aggressive as they follow her, and we get some ADR saying, "You too good to talk to us?" And honestly, as I edit this video, I realize even this isn't evidence of them being creepy, because yeah, they might have handled the situation poorly, but she was acting like an asshole and it probably offended them. Because they were being polite at first. Now, of course, it's not normal to follow a woman and surround her. Honestly, even if you are a group of women, you shouldn't gang up on a dude who's rude to you either. Just walk away. So you would think that her getting angry and then hulking out by accident is understandable. But nope. In the context of the story, her attempting to kill these innocent men is unwarranted and makes her a downright villain, even if she hulked out. She-Hulk openly states she's better than Hulk, and the show shows this all the time with how her physical feats as a Hulk just outclass him at every turn. To the point that she can even maintain full control of her senses in her Hulk form, being quoted as stating that she only lost control on her first transformation. And that would be the one after the initial car crash that infected her with Hulk's blood. That's a breadcrumb, keep that in mind. Like, she even has this angry feminist rant that's punctuated by her showing how she can easily transition back and forth from human and Hulk form at will. This one isn't a breadcrumb, but it reinforces just how amazing she is. Doesn't that mean that her second transformation was at the bar when she almost murdered those pleasant gentlemen? Doesn't that imply she was in full control of her senses when she tried to kill the aforementioned pleasant gentlemen? And there goes the payoff for the breadcrumbs that I left, since, yeah, she only lost control on her very first transformation. This reeks of the Invincible Amber scenario all over again.
This is why I'm always late or why I don't show. Because I'm off saving lives or stopping some bad guys. Did you hear what I just said?
Ugh, I know you're a superhero.
Before you make your character say a line, how about you make sure it doesn't ruin your world building and characterization first? How are we supposed to root for a person that's willing to murder a group of guys with her superpowers just because they tried to have a conversation with her? It's like the show is saying, women, if a guy talks to you, kill them, and nothing else. Once again, in the comments, what is your take on that? Help me out. Am I crazy for thinking this? Because I feel like this show persists with this anti-male messaging that Disney likes to push. Like, Jen's rant about controlling her anger more than Hulk is actively stating that men's issues don't matter as much as women's, while disregarding the overall scope and context of the issue that traumatized the individual within the subtext of her monologue. Now, I am hoping that the show is setting up to her becoming overconfident and then going on a character journey to officially become a real hero, and realizing that she is not as great as she believes she is, but I doubt it, so I am preemptively calling her a Mary Sue based off of the first episode. And the show attempted to tell us that the theme was about becoming a real hero, but how do you do that if your main character is an angry, unlikable bitch? Is that why they included Daredevil, so she can teach him how to be a real hero? I mean, she's already teaching Hulk how to be a better Hulk and person so far. I guess I'll have to wait and see. Imagine that in the narrative, she's amazing for like 1 or 2 episodes before making a huge mistake, and then having to lean on Bruce for help, and maybe the Daredevil as well. Maybe she like hulks out and kills a bunch of men because she assumes that they're the bad guys in some scenario. Due to her negative preconceived notion about the male gender, then she finds out that she was wrong and her name gets smeared publicly, so she has to go on the run and she has to deal with the emotional trauma of having murdered some guys due to her own prejudice, thus sending her spiraling downward until she finally gets help from her cousin and Daredevil, changing her views and ultimately becoming a better person and hero. I feel like that would be good. But what I'm expecting is that she will never make a mistake, or if she does, it will be framed as not being her fault, similar to WandaVision, and how the show tells her that she was the one who sacrificed the most at the end after she released her literal mind slaves. You see, my opinion is that as a character, Hulk is supposed to be about introspection. It's inspired by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I think is based on a guy named Carl Jung's philosophy on the shadow. I don't know much about this subject, so correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, the shadow is the idea that everyone has a dark side that they like to hide from even themselves. That would be the Hulk and She-Hulk in this scenario. People tend to stifle their shadow within themselves, hiding their unsavory urges, but when they face it, they can manage to overcome a lot of their negative traits, and even find positive aspects within their shadow that can be used to their benefit when they are managed correctly. Think of Hulk coming to grips with all of his trauma and managing to save the world, or just Professor Hulk being a literal personification of the union between the self and the shadow. However, many people are so afraid to acknowledge their shadow that they pretend that they have no shadow, meaning no negative traits, leaving them completely unaware when they are acting in accordance with their shadow's negative behaviors. Let's say, I don't know, disregarding your cousin's trauma directly to his face and never apologizing, or almost murdering people who are being nice to you after you antagonize them by being rude. These types of people might even view these negative behaviors in a positive light, possibly making them dangerous people, especially when given too much power. Man, I have a lot more to say about this first episode, but I don't want to inject too much baseless opinion into my analysis just yet, so I'll end it here. But tell me in the comments, what do you expect to happen in the show? Will She-Hulk be the bestest ever, or will she get humbled and have to act like a normal human being who fails and has actual flaws? Will they turn Tony Stark and Bruce Banner gay? This is something that I, for some reason, assumed was going to happen when I saw the bar scene, but I'm really cynical when it comes to Disney lately, so that might be wrong. What do you guys think? Please like and subscribe if you like hearing the baritone timbre of my voice, and let's hang out on my other videos. Bye bye.